First, our top stories. Court dismisses suit seeking to disqualify Goodluck Jonathan from participating in 2027 polls. INEC appeals verdict voiding timeline on party register. On insecurity, gunmen abduct stand from Emir's Palace, raise police station in Kwara. Federal government counsels $707.7 million World Bank power intervention loan. Outside Nigeria, US launches new strikes on Iran, targeting missile sites and boats. And on sports news, Super Eagles are ready for Zimbabwe test after final training session. Those are our top stories. Details coming up in just a moment. Now we'll bring you details of the news and more, starting from election matters and politics, where the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has affirmed the former President Goodluck Jonathan is eligible to contest the 2027 presidential election. The court, in the judgment delivered by Justice Peter Lifo, held that there was no legal impediment preventing Jonathan from seeking a return to the presidency. Justice Lifo held that the issue of Jonathan's eligibility had already been decided by the Court of Appeal. He dismissed as frivolous and an abuse of court process the suit that was entered against the former president by an Abuja-based legal practitioner, Jideobi John Mary. According to the court, the plaintiff lacked the locus standi, that's legal right, to institute the action. The lawyer had in his suit queried Jonathan's eligibility on the premise that he had already been sworn in as president on 2 occasions. He posed a lone question for the court to determine whether, in view of the combined provisions of the entirety of Section 1, Subsection 1, Subsection 2, and Subsection 3, and Section 137, Subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and their conflicted interpretation, is the first defendant eligible under any circumstances whatsoever to contest for the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Upon the determination of the question, the sought, among other reliefs, as well as an order of this Honorable Court directing the third defendant, Honorable Attorney General of the Federation, to ensure compliance with the decisions and orders of this court. In an affidavit of fact that was deposed in support of the suit by one Emmanuel Agida, the plaintiff contended that if ex-President Jonathan wins the 2027 presidential election, which is for a term of 4 years spanning 2027 to 2031, he would have exceeded 8 years, being the cumulative maximum years a Nigerian president is statutorily permitted to stay in office. The court awarded 20 million naira in cost against the plaintiff in favor of Jonathan. APC National Chairman Nentawe Yilwatda has described Governor Siminalayi Fubara's withdrawal from the River State APC governorship primary as a personal decision, insisting that the party followed due process throughout the exercise. Yilwatda explained that Fubara voluntarily withdrew from the race after completing the party's screening process. The party's national chairman further dismissed suggestions that the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, influenced the outcome of the APC primary in Rivers State. Last week, the APC issued several comprehensive disqualification lists for legislative and governorship aspirants following the conclusion of national screening exercises ahead of the 2027 general elections. Yilwatda addressed the disqualification of some aspirants, stressing that APC rules require all contestants to be financially active members of the party. On questions surrounding the eligibility of a House of Representatives member who was the minority leader in the lower chamber, Kingsley Chinda, but secured the APC governorship ticket in Rivers, Yilwatda said he defected insisting that APC has no waiver system. Fubara had earlier announced his withdrawal from the APC governorship primary, citing the need to prioritize peace, stability, and unity in Rivers State ahead of the 2027 governorship election. There were, however, questions raised since the governor was affiliated with his former political godfather, Nyesom Wike. Meanwhile, another aspirant, Tony Cole, also withdrew from the APC governorship race, pledging loyalty to party decisions, while Fubara promised support for the eventual APC candidate. Chinda later emerged as the APC governorship candidate in the oil-rich South state. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has appealed the federal government and the Federal High Court judgment avoiding parts of the election guidelines it released for the conduct of next year's general elections. In a judgment delivered last Wednesday, Justice Mohammed Umar annulled aspects of INEC's timelines contained in the revised timetable for the 2027 polls that were found to be inconsistent with the Electoral Act 2026. But the electoral umpire yesterday filed a motion and notice seeking an order staying the execution and or further execution of the May 20 judgment pending the hearing and determination of its appeal. In its notice of appeal filed by its counsel Alex Izinyon, INEC faulted the judgment and prayed the appellate court to set it aside. The commission, which raised 9 grounds of appeal, contended, among others, that the Federal High Court judge erred in law by failing to pronounce on the jurisdictional issue, that the suit was hypothetical and academic, a failure it said denied the commission a fair hearing. INEC argued that the interpretation of sections 29 subsection 1, 82 and 84 of the Electoral Act 2026 did not permit the narrow understanding adopted by the trial court. The electoral body further contended that the judgment of the trial court was against the weight of evidence placed before it. And now to insecurity, where gunmen have abducted 10 persons from the palace of the Emir of Yashikira in Barutan local government, Kwara State. In a statement, the State Police Public Relations Officer Adetun Ejire Adeyemi said gunmen also attacked the Yashikira police station simultaneously in the early hours of yesterday. Following the incident, the statement added that the Commissioner of Police, Ojo Adekimi, has ordered an intelligence-led tactical operation involving the police, military, forest guards, vigilantes, and other security agencies to comb surrounding forests and suspected criminal hideouts in a bid to rescue the victims and apprehend the perpetrators. The police chief assured residents that the command would not succumb to threats of or intimidation by criminal elements operating in any parts of the state. The command also assured residents of Yashikira and other parts of Kayama local government area that security operations have been intensified across vulnerable communities, with surveillance, intelligence gathering, and bush combing operations ongoing. The latest incident comes after terrorists abducted and attacked a church during a Saturday night vigil, killing 3 persons and abducting 15 worshippers at Urioke, Jaye, on the outskirts of Ikiran village in Ekiti local government area of Kwara State. The federal government has cancelled $717.7 million in undisbursed World Bank intervention financing designed to revive Nigeria's struggling electricity sector. The cancellation followed a formal request by the federal government and a joint decision by both parties to discontinue financing under the Power Sector Recovery Performance-Based Operation due to evolving sector realities and inability to achieve key reform milestones. According to documents obtained from the World Bank, the development effectively terminates the remaining portion of a $1.52 billion Power Sector Recovery Program. The cancelled amount represents the entire undisbursed balance remaining under the program. The federal government says it developed the Power Sector Recovery Program as a framework to restore the sector's financial viability and reduce its fiscal burden on public finances. The program included plans to progressively eliminate tariff shortfalls, improve operational performance among power sector institutions, and strengthen regulatory oversight and accountability mechanisms. The loan was approved on June 23, 2020, with financing of about $752.5 million equivalent. The program was structured to improve electricity supply reliability, strengthen the sector's financial and fiscal sustainability, and enhance accountability among key institutions in the electricity value chain. Following initial progress recorded under the program, the World Bank approved an additional financing package of approximately $762.5 million equivalent on June 9, 2023 to consolidate earlier gains and support a new phase of reforms. The financing became effective on June 19, 2024 and extended the project's closing date to June 30, 2027. Together, the original financing and the additional facility amounted to about $1.25 billion. You are currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll go straight to our analysis segments where we have Elvis Elimihele, public affairs analyst. Mr. Elimihele, thank you very much for joining us on the news at 12.
Yeah, good afternoon, Solomon. How is your day?
Thank God, it's a beautiful Tuesday morning.
Yeah,
or after. No. Well, it's a contradictory situation here. But let's go to the first news on our item, which is came out about 4 to 5 minutes ago. It's breaking news all over the news right now, where court has dismissed a suit seeking to disqualify former President Goodluck Jonathan from participating in the 2027 polls. Well, that basically means he's qualified, he is eligible to contest in next year's general election. Where do we start with this story? First of all, this is contradicting the Ayedatiwa judgment, which we know this Jonathan's eligibility have divided. Judiciary has divided legal, opinions. Where on the other hand, people are using the swearing in. You can't take more than 2 oaths of office. And then using the Ayedatiwa situation as a backup. On the other hand, people are saying, well, the first tenure was a completion of the Jonathan, Yaradua's tenure. So it's been all over the place. So what's your take on this situation?
You see, first of all, let me congratulate former President Goodluck Jonathan on the judgment, but not congratulating him on coming to become president of Nigeria.
Okay.
At least his mind is clear now that the judgment favored him and he's not being victimized in any form. But for me, this is judgment. Let's end it like an academic exercise.
Okay.
For me, let him not put his head in this trouble, this Wahala nation.
Well, he looks like he's putting his head, because he's neither here nor there.
Solomon, get my word. For me,
I understand.
You understand?
I understand. Yes.
I love him where he is now better than when these clueless people were insulting him. These clueless APC people, even the present president, the former governor of Osun State, former governor BC Akonde, and the rest of them were insulting him when he was president. I think he has, for me, I believe he has more peace now.
I mean, it wasn't just them insulting him. I mean, ordinary Nigerians were insulting him too.
No. You know why I mentioned these names? These are the people who are architects of APC today.
Okay.
That brought Nigerians were insulting him, but you can see BC Akonde is a chieftain of APC as we speak to tomorrow.
A majority of them are chieftain of APC.
And even Tinubu that said he should resign if he cannot secure Nigerians. He's the president of Nigeria today, and insecurity under Tinubu is even worse now than when it was during the time of former President Jonathan. So when I mention these two particular persons, I know why I'm mentioning them, so that at least they've now heard that the judgment favor him, even if he wants to come back to become try his strength in the race. But for me, I don't welcome him to coming back into this kind of
the question though is, why will he want to come back? Why will he want to come back? That's the question.
That's the question. But for me, that question is left for him to answer alone. But for me, I'm not.
And that's where the confusion is coming in even more, because he never answers the question. He's just he's like he's playing along with the game, because it is obvious this is a game.
Yeah,
and it is playing along because he is neither confirming nor denying.
Yeah, for me, the last time they visited him, protest to his office and said they want him to be part of the race. The answer he gave to me, that they gave to them that day, shows that he's really not really interested. Ask them, how many of you have?
Then why not come out plainly to tell people, well, I am not interested?
I think
why playing along with the game?
Well, that's the characteristic of politicians. Sometimes they just want to.
Now that statement, one of the things why people loved Jonathan was the fact that he wasn't a politician. Yeah. I mean, his political ride has been circumstantial, from deputy governor of Bayelsa to governor, and then vice president. It's been he never followed conventional. So exactly. So Nigerians were saying, well, we're tired of politicians. At least he's not the conventional politician, and the way he exited the stage also showed he wouldn't do anything. To him, politics is not a do or die affair the way most politicians do. He left despite the fact that the political atmosphere was tense and it was looking like there was going to be a bloodbath. He stopped it. So that has placed him on a pedestal as far as Nigerians are concerned, and a lot of Nigerians think he's messing all that up with this game he's playing.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying he should be congratulated and congratulate himself. At least let him see now that it is not because I have a kind of law that says I should not contest, but I just don't want to be there any longer. Let him have that toga. Let him have that integrity in him. Now, I'm not being gagged by the law any longer. The court has said I'm free to contest, but I don't need it. Where I am, I'm better off. That's what I believe, that an elder statesman, he had that kind of elder statesman behavior, character, when he handed over in 2015 and said, no, you go. Since INEC have said you won the election, congratulations, take over. I don't want any Nigeria to die because of my ambition, That was what he told when he was coming in, that my ambition does not worth the blood of any Nigerian. And he did it.
And Nigerians loved him for that.
And the world generally. Today he has been like the eye of the AU. Any election, Jonathan is there to monitor the election for ECOWAS or AU, or as the case may be. I think that's even a bigger position than being the president of Nigeria. History will always refer to him as one of those that actually work for Nigerians to actually remove this greed that we have always known politicians for. So if he's coming back, I don't know. He might come and stain that goodwill he used in leaving office in 2015. He's coming to stain it, and I don't want him to dent it. That's why I keep saying, for me, he should celebrate where he is now more than this one that they are trying to push him into the ring, and at the end of the day they will withdraw and he'll be left alone.
The bigger question now, though, is under what party? If he is coming out to contest under what party? Because the last time we checked, he's not resigned from the People's Democratic. So officially or on paper, he's still a PDP member. And we both know the PDP of today is not the PDP of that time. The PDP has been, decimated.
Completely decimated.
So the faction that has supposedly been recognized by INEC is the Wike faction. I will know the Wike faction is loyal to APC and the president
100%.
Bola Tinubu. So, and this other faction, the Sheyi Makinde faction,
Yes.
well, Sheyi Makinde has come out to,
He's also flying the ticket.
exactly, and in alliance with another party. I don't understand how that will
APM.
work. I don't understand how that will work, but that is the situation of things right now. So, under what party is he still going to be? Is he going to defect to another party? Is he contesting under the PDP? Is it will he join the Sheyi Makinde faction, and they do a primary to see between him and Sheyi Makinde who will win? Will he be in the Wike faction, where between him and former Sandy who is going to win? There's a whole lot of questions.
That's why I said he doesn't even, his body language does not really show that he's coming in. In Nigeria we can interpret people even more than the person himself. You understand? The way he answered in that, did you think contesting for presidency is a computer game? All those language will make you to understand that this man is not really interested, but he's good that the case has been dispensed and in his own favor. That's good. But for me, let him remain where he is. Nigerians are already celebrating him. Nigerians have come to know whom he is. Nigerians have come to know that the empathy he showed towards Nigerians when he was the president of this nation. Remember, he removed fuel subsidy. Nigerians went to the street and he withdrew it. But here we are today. That was 65 naira to 120. As at that time, a liter of fuel. But today, a liter of fuel now is 1,350. Nobody is protesting. Nobody is contesting it. Even the people that meted this hardship on us still tell us that they are even doing better. So let's leave Nigeria for Nigerians and leave it for this APC. When Nigerians are tired, we know what to do about APC's government.
Now, there's another conspiracy theory out there that Goodluck Jonathan is working for Tinubu. I mean, there've been, if informations are anything to go by, have been one or twice when he made statement that he's a very close friend to Bola Tinubu, and that he will not want to go against him. And with this story that he's coming out to contest, and him neither confirming or denying, has brought different conspiracy theories, and one of them is that he's working for the APC. Do you think so?
Jonathan cannot be working for APC. APC intimidated him so badly. Has he forgotten so soon? Let him go to the internet and go to newspaper and see all the clips. To the extent that even Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka was calling his wife Shippopotamus. As if would they forget all this one so soon? I don't think Jonathan is too so low to be working for APC.
Some will say
we can interpret so many things. What is he looking for? He's been to that office. Some will say he's already stooping so low by not coming out authoritatively to say, look, I'm not playing your political games. In 2023, this was how his name was also being drawn that he was going to contest. He never contested in 2023.
Not this bad. Right now, it's even much more intense than it was in 2023.
No. People are trying to drag him into it. Now, he has not even shown that body language. Case was in the court. It was good that the case that was in the court has to get to judgment. But now the judgment has come and it favored him. I mean, that should be the biggest celebration that, it is not because of I'm gagged by the law, but I don't just want to come in.
But don't you think only Jonathan could end these conspiracy theories?
Yes, he's the only one. By coming to make a categorical statement.
Exactly.
Yes, the case has come off and gone, but I'm not interested. Let the players continue. I can work from the fringes and advise where necessary.
Because whatever the situation is, as at now, some would say it is favoring the ruling party than the opposition political party, because there is this assumption that it will divide the opposition vote.
Yeah, that's true. But whether the opposition vote is going to be divided or not, Jonathan should not be seen as part that divided the vote. He should not allow his name to be drawn in that mound, that he was part of those that divided the vote for the opposition that now brought Tinubu back to government. If I thought Tinubu has anywhere to go anyway, that is between Nigerians and INEC. Get me clear, Nigerians and INEC. If Tinubu is going or not, it's the Nigeria that will determine that.
Well, it is interesting to see how this plays out. We're definitely going to be on the VOP 90.3 FM to analyze whatever the decision.
And thank God it's just dropping, and we are part of those that are, shaking our mouth put first.
So whatever decision the former President Goodluck Jonathan
he should
will
come
take,
and now make categorical statements. That's what Nigerians want to hear from him.
Is it contesting or not,
Or
so
not
that
contesting.
Nigerians
Now,
will
yes,
know? Because
yes.
right now, vibes is showing, all eyes are more on Peter Obi.
Yes.
But because Jonathan
You
wasn't a bad president,
Yeah,
he
you also
would
remember
definitely
Jonathan and Peter Obi's relationship too.
exactly. So he would also garner some some vibe if he do decide to come out to contest for president, because he's such a huge personality too,
Yes.
which is going to be
And
quagmire
you
for
also
people
know
that want APC out of
Exactly.
office.
You also know that this gentleman agreement of North and South
Yes.
will even favor Jonathan more now, because
True.
he has done one tenor. Definitely he has one tenor. So if he comes in and everybody will say, definitely the law will not allow him to go beyond that one
The
tenor.
political calculation may favor him more than Peter Obi, because whatever the situation, it is certain that he's not going to
go
be.
beyond that
But
one
unlike
tenor.
Peter Obi, they just have to believe in his words
Exactly.
and politicians.
But let him come and dispel this.
they-
Yes, the calculation favor me. It favors me because I have only one tenor to go, but I am not interested any longer. These are my reasons. Then if he says he's interested, then let us leave him and try his popularity before Nigerians, which I know that Jonathan will not get to that level any longer.
Okay, away from that now, still on politics, APC National Chairman Nentawe Yedwatda had a very interesting interview yesterday where he talked on so many things, and obviously the part of the discussion that has garnered more national discourse is River State, where the governor Simonalayi Fubara withdrew from the APC primaries after defecting from PDP to APC under various circumstances, one of which was the fight between him and his former principal and the FCT minister Nyesom Wike. Yedwata have come out to say that Fubara withdrew voluntarily and based on personal reasons best known to him. He also talked about one huge elephant in the APC, which is Nyesom Wike. Just how powerful and influential is he in APC, despite on paper being a PDP member? And let's first of all address the first one.
Solomon.
Do you believe his excuse?
Solomon, I got so disappointed yesterday with Professor Yewata. He has lost my respect yesterday. Honestly.
How so?
I watched that interview from the beginning to the end. As he made that statement, go and look at the other one that was made by the elephant. That same yesterday, Wike, when he started mocking Fubara for even going to buy the form. And the chairman of APC was on air later in the day telling Nigerians that he withdrew voluntarily. It was his own decision. It was a big shame that a professor can belittle himself so low and be talking from both sides of the mouth because of politics. Nigerians belong to Nigeria. Nigeria belong to Nigerians. Politicians should not see Nigeria as their own family, like their own heritage. What the professor was saying yesterday is quite different from what Wike was using to boast yesterday when he was mocking Fubara. Fubara went into an agreement to sign. They compelled him to sign that agreement when the second impeachment came. That the only way this will be out of your neck is that you are not going back for a second tenure. This young man was compelled to sign, and he signed and he came out. Then that is the same person the chairman is saying he withdrew out of his own volition when he knew what transpired in Aso Rock between Wike himself and President Tinubu. What is he trying to tell Nigerians? Why do they take Nigerians for fool? Are we foolish? Don't they, we know what is going on? Has he not left the race? He has left the race. Look at even the most foolish part of it. Somebody who is the minority leader in the House of Rep, he was not even an APC person. This is a PDP person. That Chinda,
that's Kingsley
Chinda, is now the governorship candidate of APC in Rivers.
Well, he also addressed that, saying that he defected, even though it's not exactly public knowledge.
Did you hear that? Are we not here in the studio every day analyzing all the defectees? People that is it not? Have we not been capturing them? Did you ever hear that? Leave that shenanigan and that abracadabra that was played between Wike and Tinubu, and even himself now roping himself in. You see, Nigerians are getting disappointed with professors. The professors are the ones that are not joining INEC to rig election. The professors are not the ones that are telling lies. These are supposed to be academia that you leave your children to say, train these children to become mentors, to become greater leaders of tomorrow. When you start hearing professors now talking in this manner, you will be afraid of the future of our children. Wike was boastful yesterday that they got the best candidate for Rivers State, and that is Kingsley Chinda, who came in from another party to now become the governorship candidate of APC in Rivers. That is shame on APC, which means APC themselves do not even have their own mission and vision. Somebody else cannot come in that is not member of their party and now impose a candidate on them. I was looking at the leadership of APC, but yesterday I knew that APC has no leadership. When Professor Yewata spoke in that manner, I was thinking that Senator Bashiru, the former APC Secretary General, would have had a counter argument on this manner. But when he went for the screening, and they now said, you know, when Fubara went for the screening, Fubara came out in less than 10 minutes. And everybody was like, what's going on? You know, then the next thing that we heard from the secretary was that they were going to issue a statement on it. That they were going to issue a statement generally on the screening. At the end of the day, what we now heard was Fubara has withdrawn from the race. It's a shame that APC can.
This also shows how influential Wike is in APC, despite
APC is not a party.
Denial.
APC has shown that they are not party. A party must have an ideology. This is what we stand for, and this is what we must do. These are our members, and these members must face disciplinary action when they go against the law. APC has no APC is not a party. That's what they have just told us. Where is the ideology here? Where is the disciplinary measures here to curtail excessiveness of members from the fringes? Another person is giving you candidates. That's to tell you that APC is not a party. They are not just there to grab whatever anybody can grab for himself.
Now the attention may have been more on Rivers State, but Rivers State wasn't the only state that had this situation. I mean, about 10 other states had the same problems, but where there were even a protest from some party members.
Solomon, there is no other state where a sitting governor lost his ticket under APC. It's only Rivers. Some others could have been very high-profile member of the party in their respective states.
Yeah.
Well, that is understandable. Only Rivers, a sitting governor who defected to them, and they said, you remember President Tinubu said, governors go and take care of the primaries in your state. But in Rivers, somebody else who is not a member of the party took care of the primaries in Rivers State for APC. Is that a shame on APC?
Now, the point I was trying to make by calling all these other states, shows how chaotic the primaries, in APC have been.
Absolutely chaotic.
It's been very, very chaotic.
Yes.
There have been protests. A lot of persons that defected to the APC under the guise of their political advancement were forced to withdraw. Lots of them are stuck in the party. It's too late for some of them to defect to other parties. And some old guard of APC that were actually loyal to the party have been jettisoned in in some states to accommodate some of the defectees. So the party, some will say, is fractured. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, we are going to see more of that. I've always been saying it, that APC is like a pond. They accept all the refuse, and after a while it will be smelling. That pond, it stinks because it's not flowing out, and that's what we are saying now. There were members who were so loyal to APC that bore that name even when they were in opposition in their respective states. Suddenly, the bride came.
New bride.
Then the new bride and now came and now being the celebrated members of the party. Do you think those old members will be happy? They are not happy. But you do know what? They may not leave the party, but they may shift allegiance to other political parties and say, my members and my followers. You know, politicians always have leader and followers. And say, come, this was how this treatment that was meted out on us. This is the political party I want you to cast your vote for.
You think this would affect the general election? Because if, like you said, some of them may be APC members on paper, but behind the scene will have to support opposition.
At the pool, they may, profess for another party, which is normal.
How much do you think this would affect the President Buhari's chances of retaining? Tinubu's chances of retaining the presidency?
It would have. But
because this is almost like a repetition of PDP.
Yes,
where the G5, the G5 make sure they destroy the chance of Atiku Abubakar emerging the winner.
This would have affected APC's chances, but for Professor Amukbiton, another professor again, the biggest fear Nigerians should be having now is Professor Amukbiton's INEC. Otherwise, you will go to see some protest votes. It's not this 11 million, 10 point something, 10.9
yeah, which was another thing I wanted to talk about.
That the APC is talking about. Forget about it. We saw their geometric counting from 1 to 1,000. Everybody in APC don't know what is arithmetic any longer. That you have 1, 2, 3 to 1,000. So forget about that. That is another landmine. They are just telling you now that what they are going to do in the presidential election or general election in 2027, that they are going to tell Nigerians that after all, we had 11 million during primaries. That's why the president had about 50 million or 20 million, 30 million in the general election. It is just an arrangement, manipulation towards the general election. APC does not have that number. We saw the counting. So if everything goes well as expected, we are going to see another trajectory in the result that was supposed to come in 2023, 2027 general election. Unfortunately, where is the body language of Amukbiton and INEC? That's our fear.
Now, and let's use that as a segue to the next election, topic for discussion, where INEC have appealed verdict avoiding, timeline on party list. I mean, the way INEC did the, timetable has caused friction, especially among opposition political parties. And the party that is suffering more on it is ADC. Some will say, thank God Peter Obi left. It has been a legal contention.
Yeah.
What's your take on
this? Now the court has actually ruled in favor of even the opposition, that INEC doesn't have that power, but INEC has appealed it. Now that matter is still and even as they appealed it, they even said let the status quo remain, which means they are still holding on to this timetable that they used, to gag the opposition.
However, very choking timeline.
However, let us see where that judgment is going to take us to. Let me tell you, Solomon, some of us are happy that Obi quickly left before all this one started happening. That's
assuming that the issue will not repeat itself in NDC.
Well, where for now we have not. Let us wait for their primaries and the result of their primaries too. But let us believe that at the end of all this, the opposition will be able to align their house in order. If all the oppositions are, Donald Duke, PROP, probably either Amechi or whatever in ADC today, then will be in NDC. And all this scattered one, it will not help the opposition. Because the elephant in the room is too large. This elephant owns INEC. They own the armed forces. The
state apparatus.
The CBN vote of Nigeria is open for this elephant. They can do what they want to do with it. So opposition must know that they have a very big elephant in the room that can scatter everywhere.
And unfortunately, the opposition have even bigger issues. They're even more chaos, even in their own party.
Yeah, they can come more outside. That was why we celebrated the Ibadan Declaration last time.
Yeah, I mean, how will that work? We have we're having
candidates.
For now, the ADC primaries, so far the result is Atiku have been winning.
What do you expect?
A lot of the states. So on paper we expect him to come out as the presidential flag bearer of ADC. NDC it's already consolidated.
Yes.
Peter Obi. So Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, what's his name? Or your state governor, Sheyi Makinde.
Makinde.
These are who will drop for who?
No, none of them is going to drop. But there's going to be protests. The kind of protest
which makes the Ibadan meeting.
No, Ibadan meeting is already like dead. But what's going to happen is the aggrieved parties in ADC might, like we said earlier, collapse their structure into any of the any of the candidates that they believe in better. Because politicians after these primaries, they're going to be having some kind of background alignment.
True.
Yes, you can join us when it gets to ministerial sharing. You have so we get to ambassador sharing. If we win, you understand. Board sharing, there's still going to be board members of the board and all of that. There are so many things. So if the candidates of this a little bit settled party like NDC we have seen so far can equally move faster now, but after these primaries that would have disintegrate some of these other opposition party, it will be well for them.
But NDC has been silent though. The initial buzz that trailed it when Peter Obi joined, it looks like everything is quiet. What do you think is going on?
No, something is going on. There's nothing quiet at this moment. They are preparing for their primaries. Their primaries is this week. I think it's on the 26th or so. I think it's this week.
Do they still need primaries after?
No, they have other positions.
Okay.
They have other positions,
the governorship
and all of that. Yeah. So they're going to be primaries. So the presidency, they say, okay, maybe it's consensus. Even at that consensus, everybody have to agree so that they know that the person that they picked is the person that actually genuinely comes from the mind of everybody in the party. So let them prepare for their primaries and let their primaries also be very
organized,
well organized, and sanitized. Let that be transparency, so that Nigerians can know that NDC is actually coming to make that change. You understand? Okay. By the end of today, between now and today, tomorrow, we'll be analyzing ADC primaries, how transparent it was. So you get what I'm saying? We have already seen now that same shenanigans and that same abracadabra of APC continue in their primaries. The same thing we have had in the past 4 years in this government. So there is nothing to write home about APC primaries. That's not primaries. That is just like, this is our candidate select. That's why you see from 100, you now hear 1,000. Now coming out and tell you that they have 11 million. Almost
now,
11 million.
For all the criticism about APC consensus style of candidate, I mean, isn't that the same thing that NDC is adopting with Peter Obi? There was basically no opposition to Peter Obi. It was more like a consensus candidate in NDC.
Yeah, but we are seeing more. We'll see more of That's why I said they should come up with a more transparent primaries
in the other positions.
Yes, on other positions, and you see NDC, bringing Obi and Kwankwaso together as probably their consensus candidate has been that Nigerians have been yearning for this kind. In 2023 we actually wanted something of this nature, but because of the arrogance of Kwankwaso, it didn't work. Now that he has dropped down from that, his high horses.
Well, there were some people that were saying Kwankwaso was working for Tinubu and APC at that time. I don't know how true it is.
Did he favor him now?
No.
The only governor he had has gone. APC have taken it from him. That even now himself and the governor, his own political godson, they don't see eyeball to eyeball. So when they are coming into some of this arrangement, they should look at the future. How favorable it will be for them when the chiefs are down. Look at where he is now. He has to even left that party that he garnered NNPP. Nobody heard of NNPP before now. He was able to win Kano as volatile as Kano politics for Abba Yusuf. Today, he has run out of NNPP, and Abba Yusuf have dumped him and went to APC. So if he worked for APC then, did he favor him? Absolutely no. So other politicians should learn from that.
Okay, away from politics now, the federal government have cancelled the $717.7 million World Bank power intervention loan. We've talked a lot about the numerous borrowings and loans received by this government. and there have been public outcry, especially the last one that the federal government, and then so much so that Nigerians had to flood the social media message of the World Bank, begging them to stop
World Bank to stop
giving Nigeria. Well, the federal government has cancelled the $770 million in an undisbursed World Bank intervention funding that the federal government says was designed to revive Nigeria's struggling electricity sector. This loan was applied in 2020, which means it wasn't Tinubu's.
It was Buhari's administration.
So what's your take?
Yeah, he has cancelled it, but that's what we are reading. By this time tomorrow, we hear that another bigger loan than this.
I mean, there's still some other loans in the air.
So there's nothing to be celebrated here. Maybe the terms and conditions, because he was not the one that went into it, did not really favor them in this their own administration. These people they are characters that you cannot vouch for. So that's why it was easy for them to say they are cancelling it. The one that's going to benefit them, you are going to hear it before the end of this month or even next month. That will be bigger than this one that we are saying they've cancelled. So let's not just look at any cancellation of any loan, Solomon. They know what they are planning, and they are going to avail it to us very soon.
The question is, why did it take so long? Because, I mean, since 2020, the World Bank has not disbursed the loan.
This loan was supposed to be meant for electricity, improvement of electricity. Is it not part of the electricity under the same the minister that have just been jailed, Salimama? This was Salimama was minister for power during this time. So I think World Bank would have also seen some of these anomalies in this loan. If all this money has come, Salimama would have been more than that 33.8 billion that he was jailed for 5 years. This man would have also fingered this. I think there were some issues here that didn't make this loan to rise smoothly during that administration that now culminated into this.
Either way, I mean, years after years, the federal government has pumped in millions of dollars into electricity. If anything, it has gone from bad to worse,
yes,
as some would say. So, do you think this would have even made any difference?
It wouldn't make any difference. There are some bigger loans in that power sector. Do you remember Obasanjo's time? So from Obasanjo era, the first minister of power under this democratic era, this Fourth Republic, was late Bola Ige. Was the first minister Obasanjo gave that portfolio to, former President Obasanjo. Did he work? He was frustrated out of that office. So since that time, Nigerians have been investing so much money in this electricity. The people that are eating this money, that are in charge of this electricity money that you don't see, Solomon, don't look at the minister. It's not the minister alone. Those permanent secretaries, those director generals in those offices,
and just like the petroleum sector, the power sector also have its cabals.
Those director generals and permanent secretaries, they are the problems, because they are the one that give the minister seat to seat. Every minister that comes in, they introduce the ministry to them, so they know where this money goes to, and they know who is involved with it. Forget about that. The minister is the one that they cut for the minister that gets to his hand. Those director generals and the permanent secretaries are part of the problem of this electricity that has never worked in this nation. The unfortunate thing is that governments, dance to their tune. Otherwise, the government has the head of every government has the power to hire and fire. Unfortunately, these people have cabal. Before you become a permanent secretary in Nigeria, one big emir or one big chief Oba is behind you. This is my candidate. This is my person. So when they push you to that side, they now know at the end of the day that you have a grandfather somewhere that made you to get to that seat. This is the problem we have. If we have the political will to actually sanitize the system, most of the permanent secretaries will not be on their seat any longer.
One huge announcement, as it were, or decision rather, that the federal government took in order to sanitize and help the power sector was privatize it from governments, and from NEPA. That's gone through different
power holding
to, and somehow it's no. I mean, there was even a time there was a rift where the Minister of Power came out and made a statement that this prepaid meter is supposed to be free. It's been paid for, and then we have the power executives coming out to say no, it is not true.
It is not true. Yes.
There is no cooperation going on between us and. I mean, if they say it's free, somehow that meter have to be paid for. Will it be paid from our pockets? Which means there is no understanding and synergy between the federal government and these privatize the power sector.
It has not worked. It has not worked. We saw that Adelabu even came and messed it up more when he came up with Ban A, Ban B, Ban C, and all that. You see, some people got that meter free. That prepaid meter
the
free.
The first set of it.
Yes, I benefited from that. I didn't pay. That's to tell you that there was a policy like that. Some other person came and hijacked it. Then the government has turned blind eye to it.
Now people pay 200,000, 300,000 naira to get,
as I'm talking to you here, I benefited from it free. If I can benefit from it, I'm not a politician. I'm not a boozier in this nation. Then what now stop that policy? That policy.
Something must have happened somewhere.
Something happened along the line, and the beneficiaries of that policy are the ones that now introduced this 200, 250, 300 to be paying, and the government.
And even then, most times it takes months for you to even get it, despite paying for it. Well, I wish we can talk about more, but we have to go, Mr. Elimihele. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Solomon. It's a blessed day.
And out to stories outside Nigeria, the US said it launched new strikes on southern Iran on Monday, targeting Iranian missile sites and boats attempting to place mines. The strikes were taken in self-defense and were designed to, quote, protect our troops from threat posed by Iranian forces. That, according to US Central Command CENTCOM. In a statement, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps IRGC said on Tuesday it had downed a US drone and fired at a fighter jet and another drone that entered Iranian airspace. State media reported it did not specify when this happened. It added that Iran had the legitimate and definite right to retaliate against any US ceasefire violations. CENTCOM spokesperson Captain Tim Hawkins said the U.S. strikes targeted an area near Bandar Abbas, a southern port city and home of an Iranian naval base that sits on the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian state media had earlier reported that local officials in Bandar Abbas were investigating after explosions were heard. It is unclear what impact the latest U.S. strikes will have on any potential peace agreements between the U.S. and Iran. Following the U.S. strikes, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the deal was still possible and pointed to talks on Tuesday between Iran's top negotiators and foreign minister and Qatar's prime minister. He said President Donald Trump had, quote, expressed his desire to make it. Meanwhile, Iran's supreme leader Majtoba Khamenei said the Middle East will no longer serve as shields for U.S. bases. Khamenei, who has not been seen in public since succeeding his late father as supreme leader earlier this year, made the comment on Tuesday in a message marking the annual Hajj pilgrimage. And finally, on our sports news, the Super Eagles wrapped up preparations yesterday ahead of their Unity Cup semi-final against Zimbabwe in London tomorrow. Head coach Eric Schell supervised the team's final training session as the players worked on tactical drills and match situations before Tuesday's encounter at the Valley. Nigeria, defending champions of the competition, will face the Warriors of Zimbabwe at 4 p.m. with the winners advancing to the final against either Jamaica or India. Yesterday's session also provided another opportunity for several home-based players and new invitees to impress the coaching crew ahead of the crucial tie. Earlier in the day, officials from both teams attended the mandatory pre-match press conference where Schell expressed confidence in his side's readiness despite the integration of several fresh faces into the squad. The Unity Cup has become an important platform for Nigeria to test emerging talents and strengthen squad depth ahead of upcoming international competitions, including the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. Players such as Chibueze Oputa, Obina, Ibuke, and other NPFL standouts are expected to play prominent roles as Shell continues reshaping the squad. Just before we go here again, all the top stories. Court dismisses suit seeking to disqualify Goodluck Jonathan from participating in the 2027 polls. INEC appeals verdict voiding timeline on party register. On insecurity, gunmen abduct 10 from Emiya's Palace, Rays Police Station in Kwara. Federal government cancels $717.7 million World Bank power intervention loan. Outside Nigeria, US launches new strikes on Iran, targeting missile sites and boats. And in sports news, Super Eagles ready for Zimbabwe test after final training session. And that's a wrap on the world news at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon Ofem. Do follow our social media handles at VOP903 FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903 FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.